Hello, hello, hello. I'm laughing because I was in the middle where Carmine was mid sentence with me, and I was just like, start the stream. How you doing, Carmine?
I'm chilling. I'm chilling. That fucking
He's,
episode though. I was trying to tell you that Ira
yeah,
Parker did film a scene of the small folk laughing at Dunk,
yeah,
but maybe he felt it might have been too mean, so he cut it. But you can see in the back they're still laughing.
huh. This is I mean not at the fart time or at something else.
Yeah, no, they're laughing when the guy farts. Yeah, but
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
assuming he felt that might have been too mean, so he cut scenes of like the crowd laughing, but you can easily see they're laughing in the background.
yeah. Did they release it early because of the Super Bowl? Yes, yes. Like American TV is very much centered around American sports, like our schedule, like the schedules of when seasons come out, when things get aired, things like that. It does revolve around sports. Like you'll notice that, like during the NBA Finals, they won't release series, so there's this like thing in May where everything, late May, beginning of June, where series aren't released. Nobody wants to compete with the Super Bowl because an institution. Um, you know, Weirdly, the World Series is not. I mean, they think about it, but they don't. It's not as they try to do like premieres like after the World Series or like around or like right afterwards or something. So yeah, so Carmine, you were not as wild about episode 4 as the other three, but I don't know. I thought it was okay, but you were a little down on it. You really really hated the fart.
I didn't really hate it. I just didn't feel it was necessary. Like why? Just to make him feel like an asshole? Why is everyone such a dick to Dunk for no reason? You made a good point. Like, are you Baelor Targaryen? No. We'll get the fuck out of the way. Like, why the aggression?
Yeah,
Why? Why are we
yeah,
doing this? Everyone's either
right.
making
Or the
fun of
sex
him
workers being
or
like, "Look at this hedge knight. He's so sad." You're fucking sex workers, okay? Like, who are you? Who
Jesus.
are you to judge? you know? Uh, you're not Dunk isn't dressing up like dead bodies in order to like have sex with people. Yeah, no, they're very mean to Dunk, and I don't know. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's definitely clearly Ira Parker's like humor set. Like he thinks it's funny, um, but it's like, can you not have like a nice moment in any of it? I was kind of making these jokes, and maybe this will be like during the review. But imagine if it were like, you're reading the end of Game of Thrones, and it's like for the first time in hundreds of years, like the night was alive with the songs of dragons. And then there's a dragon farts. Like I'm like that would be the equivalent. Like, why can't you have something nice?
Mm.
Why can't you have a beautiful moment in a Night of the Seven Kingdoms? Instead, it's like he's got to ruin it all. He's got to undercut everything. So we'll see. We'll see. Um, yeah, changing the Bracken dialogue to a fart was bad. I think it kind of it also just kind of misses the point, and this is why, for like from the beginning, when I'm kind of saying like, yeah, scene for scene, like all the scenes are there, but the show misses the thematic essence of the short story. Like the Bracken scene is another example of this because, like, again, the short story is about like the impoverished and the rich, and this idea that like chivalry is kind of bullshit, right? That all of these knights are selfish motherfuckers, and this non-knight is a good person, right? Who and so like Otho Bracken, through the story, everyone's like, oh man, he's like a big fighter. He's gonna want all the glory. And then in the end, like when Dunk is like asking these specific great knights, the greatest knights of the realm, will you defend the innocent? Defend the innocent, you know, will you side with me? They're all like, I don't know who you are, you know. I mean, it's Manfred Dardarian, you know, all over again. And that's the point. Like, knights are pieces of shit. Chivalry means nothing because it's fake, and like morality is something else, right? And these wealthy people are disconnected, and this, you know, the poor and the small folk are more connected, which is why, like, again, not that I don't think it's a great show. I do think it's a great show, but it's not at all thematically faithful to the Hedge Knight. Like, the Hedge Knight has some very clear statements about class and some very clear statements about morality that are just kind of missed when you take scenes like that. That you're taking Otho Bracken is supposed to be this incredible guy that you're hearing bits about through the Hedge Knight, and then when push comes to shove and it's time for him to like show his mettle, he's like, no, I don't know who you are, you know. And it's a random guy where, again, you know, Carmine, if your mom was watching, would she know who the fuck that was? You know, like,
Bracken? No.
Right. Like, except for, unless you turn on the closed captions and pause it when a random small folk whispers inaudibly, Otho Bracken, like, you wouldn't know. And even if you did read that to a casual, who the fuck is Otho Bracken? Like, you know, in the short story, they're mentioning him as like one of the greats. And then when he turns Dunk down, it's like a big deal. Like, you know, these heroes are not heroes because their idea of like being a hero is fighting in a fake fucking tourney, like a fake battle. Jousting is a fake battle. It's made up. It's not real. You know, these aren't like real opponents. It's not like, you know, when they're fighting for the honor of the you know, Gwyn Ashford, like, in what? Like, how are they defending Gwyn Ashford? They're not. They're playing in a silly game, pretending, right? That's the whole kind of message, that these knights are pretending at being moral warriors, and Dunk is the real moral warrior, or people that stand behind him. And well, Baelor Breakspear is real. I question the motivations of the other ones. You know, like, the other ones don't exactly have good motive. Yeah.
Beesbury is the G, bro. He is the number. He's this there just to be there because why not?
Yeah. I mean, Humphrey Harding is there. I mean, not that Humphrey Harding isn't a fucking badass, you know, with his broken leg, but his motivation is revenge. Like, he's not there because he thinks Dunk has a great cause and all that. He's there because fucking Arion is a piece of shit and he shattered his leg. It's the same. And like, Baratheon is there because it's all about the glory, you know, and Beesbury is there because he's married into a family with Harding, and like, he's there through obligation. And Raymond Fossway is there because he fucking hates his cousin. You know, like, none of them are really there because of Dunk's cause, except for Baelor. And I think that's like the point, you know. But
in the short story, but in the show, it really feels like Raymond and Lionel are there because
in the show there's more. They expand on the friendship of Lionel and Raymond in the show. So I agree. In the show, they're there because they're his friends. Yeah.
And I would say that is a +1 to the show for doing that, because that it seems like everyone is an asshole to him, or they want to fuck him. Like Lionel probably does, but Raymond is a true Chad. He is a true bro.
Yeah, and and even in the short story, I'd probably give Raymond the second, like, after Baelor, the next most moral character. You know, like, maybe Beesbury. We know nothing about Beesbury or Riesling. I think Riesling's okay. I think he was just like, what he did to that horse was bad or something, like something crazy like that.
I want to think that Beesbury probably lost a bet or something, so you know.
Baelor is there for optics. Carmine and I were talking about this in a podcast we did that'll be up in a few days on Carmine's channel. But in the show, I think it's certainly possible that Baelor is there for optics. And in the book, I think it's quite possible that Baelor is there to outshine his brother because of the brotherly rivalry. But I think, but that, that's some deep analysis. I think clearly on first read, you're just supposed to think Baelor is great. Like I think that Baelor is the perfect human being and stuff like that.
I don't know if Gus watched my video, but do you want to explain the optics thing? Because
Sure. This is the idea that not at all. This is not a book plot thing at all. But in the show, Ira Parker has come up with this idea that because they don't have dragons anymore, that the Targaryens have less control over the people, and they're a little more unruly and a little less, obedient. And this is the explanation for like why Raymond Fossway and everybody fucking hates Targaryens, is that without the dragons, they're like, who the fuck are these guys? And they're being a little uppity. Carmine and my theory is that this is in place to give Egg an eventual motivation to want to hatch dragons. Like I need to implement change. I need to maintain control over the kingdom. I need dragons back to like give him a motivation. Other than in the book, it just seems to be prophecy. Like Egg's motivated by prophecy, like every other fucking Targaryen. And so he's introduced this wrinkle that is not in the books, that the public is against the Targaryens now because they don't have dragons to scare them into place. There's no Death Star to allow the regional governors to maintain control over the galaxy. I don't like the change personally because I think it makes a bad statement that somehow tyrants, like tyranny is necessary, that you can't actually like maintain control over people without being a tyrant. Like, why not just treat them well? And that's the whole thing, is like Baelor was going to be a great ruler and was going to be wise and things like that. So this idea is that Baelor in the show, with this idea that the Targaryens have a weak hold, Baelor wants to look awesome and wants to look morally right. And so he's doing something to increase his public image. While, that's just not in the short story at all. The short story introduces a sibling rivalry, that maybe he's doing it because he wants to one up Maekar. And that's the only thing that's in there. But everybody truly fucking loves Baelor in the short story. They fucking love him. Like he's universally loved. I mean, not by maybe Blackfire supporters or something, but keep in mind that Blackfire doesn't exist when the Hedge Knight was written. So like he was just universally fucking loved when the story was written.
I don't know if anyone's like came to that same conclusion and I did with the optics, but yeah, Baelor felt like he needed to be on Dunk's side, maybe because it was morally the right thing to do, but also it clearly looks like Andal culture versus Targaryens again. And, with how things happen with Maegor and all the bloodshed there needed to be a Targaryen on Dunk's side, and I think he knew that. So the optics, in my opinion, needed to be there.
Yeah. Hi, Preston. Great content. Surprising Egg didn't name a son Baelor since he sentimentally named his firstborn Duncan. Thoughts? That's interesting. I mean, the question is like, how much does Egg know and like Baelor? Like, keep in mind that Duncan is going to be Egg's friend through all sorts of adventures. So like Duncan the Small being named after Duncan the Tall is understandable. But, the kind of this question of like, how does Egg feel about Baelor? What's funny is it's never really brought up, like obviously like Maekar, Egg likes his dad and he hates Aerion, but he loves Daeron. I'm trying to think of like and so, when you look at Egg's children, he names one Duncan. He names one Daron because he loves Daron. I'm surprised he doesn't name one Aemon. Instead, he names one Jaehaerys II. I guess maybe he respected him or something. And then he names one Rael, which I think he has. No, he has a sister Ray. Who knows who she's named after. So, so I think we get the clear Daron that he loved his brother Daron. I'm surprised he doesn't name one Aemon, but it's not like he knew Jaehaerys was going to be king. Like he thought Duncan was going to be king. So it's like when you do these naming schemes, like, he was literally expecting a King Duncan, and Duncan, of course, abdicates, and marries Jenny of Oldstones, and Jaehaerys takes over. I think probably though, like, keep in mind that Jaehaerys II is named prior to any of this, George R. R. Martin had put the Targaryen succession in the appendices of A Game of Thrones. And so he'd already just like been naming kings like, this is the first and this is the second and stuff like that. So before he came up with what Egg and Duncan were doing and Dunk were doing. So like, you could probably come up with some retroactive reason on why Egg named a child Jaehaerys, but George probably didn't put much thought into that decision. While he did put a lot of thought in him naming a kid Duncan and one Daron. Like that makes sense. I don't know why he would name one Rael, but who knows? But yeah, I mean, why not Baelor? I don't know. He didn't have enough sons. I mean, like I say, Jaehaerys was named before this short story was written, because he's just comes in next in line in that appendices. And so, when George R. R. Martin is like filling out the family tree, he was like, Duncan and Daron, So, I mean, you could argue that like, Baelor dies when Egg is young and he didn't really remember him or know him very well, stuff like that. But, insane that Parker didn't include the crowd cheering on Dunk. I mean, it's the thing is the idea the small folk are with Dunk, it's too bad. It's funny that Carmine and I have named the episodes like the shit episode, the dick episode, the eye episode, and the fart episode. So, what episode 4 ain't out until Sunday? Is it? No, it's been out. It's been out a full day. But yeah, because of the Super Bowl. Super Bowl Sunday. Makar not knowing what a trial by 7 is made me more angry than it should. I also thought that was pretty ridiculous. It was also unnecessary. So in the short story, Dunk is the only one that doesn't know what a trial by 7 is, as he shouldn't. Like why would he know? There hasn't been one in at least 100 years. We know of one 150 years before the events. They keep saying like 100 years as if maybe there was some other trial by combat, but like trial by 7. But Makar should absolutely know what a trial by 7 is, considering Maegor was in a trial by 7 and it's a significant part of Targaryen history. Like it's a significant part of the Faith Uprising and the reign of Maegor the Cruel. Like this isn't some like random little event, okay? Like knowing that there was a fucking trial by 7, like People love that shit. They love these trials. Like to know like, oh man, there was a trial by 7 once. Oh man. Incredible. I mean, I don't know. I mean, okay. Here's the equivalent. Like people outside of St. Louis may not know that there was an all St. Louis World Series. There was. The St. Louis Cardinals once played the St. Louis Browns, like way back in the day. Now, to someone in St. Louis, they're much more likely to know that fact because, I'm sorry, not even St. Louis, a St. Louis baseball fan is much more likely to know that fact because they are in St. Louis and they love baseball, right? Maekar is a Targaryen. He's honor obsessed. He's so honor obsessed that he says he's going to kill his children unless they change to be more honorable. Okay, this is how, like, for him not to know about Maegor the Cruel and Targaryen history and the trial by 7 that Maegor the Cruel participated in, yeah, that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that they gave him that line. They should have just given the line to Lord Ashford or not had the line, considering that, like, right after Dunk is like, trial by 7. Like, just give the line to Lord Ashford. Like, that's it. I'd be perfectly fine with Ashford not knowing. Like, who cares? He's a dumbass. But Maekar? Come on. Maekar? Come on. You know, like, you know, flash forward to, like, someone like Barristan Selmy. Like, Barristan Selmy knows all about Maekar's, like, exploits in war. Okay, he knows all about like the hammer and the anvil at the Red Grass Field and things like that. Like he knows. And he's not a Targaryen, and that's like a good 100 years later, right? So like, why wouldn't Maekar know about his own fucking goddamn family? Like, I don't know. It's pretty nuts. That's pretty nuts that he wouldn't know. What about the World Cup? Will HBO not air stuff during the World Cup matches, considering it's such a high-profile worldwide event? I don't know. Probably now HBO is thinking about it. Now that HBO is more international, you know, and you got to remember that, like, you know, American media has been rotating and been doing this kind of pattern for years and years and years, and so, you know, I think. But, you know, I bet they think about that stuff now. I just found out there's a movie with Ed Harris and motorcycle jousting. That's funny. Brackens are not people. Yeah. You can always rely on Brackens getting shat on and Blackwoods getting glazed. You're right, man. You are right. That's just. I mean, the best I can say is that Rhaenyra was hot for the Bracken that got killed. She thought he was like that one. That's the best you can say about the Bracken before he got stabbed. That Rhaenyra was into him. Oh, in the book, I got the feeling that the green apple was crushing on Dunk. I think I'm in the minority on that. I mean, I'll grant you, like, him, like, running after Dunk when Dunk, like, barely interacts with them and like, forcing himself to be his friend is, like, is definitely a little weird. I always took it as he's a squire, and so he looks up to Dunk, even though Dunk is a hedge knight. You know, that there was that, like, power dynamic, like, because he's still only a squire. You know, if he were a full knight, he'd be like, Duncan the Tall, fuck that guy. But he's a squire, so he's like, ooh, I can be friends with a knight, you know, or something. That was my take. But I think it's, yeah, why not? Raymond is into Dunk. Why not? You know. The scene with Steely Pate is better than the book. See, Carmine and I talked about this too, and I disagree. But I think the book, I think that not that the actor didn't do a good job. He did. The lines are taken almost word for word. But in the short story, Dunk has spent half the story pinching pennies and thinking about the cost of everything. About, he thinks about like, oh, the sausages are only a copper. I can buy one. Or, oh, an ale is this and this. Oh, I got this amount of money for the horse. And then we argued about the saddle. And then, he bargains with Steely Pate about the armor. There's he doesn't throw a copper to Tansel because he wants to be tight with his money, but then he like gives her two later because he feels guilty. Like he is watching his coin the entire story. So when Steely Pate is like, and he's like, how much do I owe you for this? And he's like, from you, a copper. Like that's like a very powerful scene in the short story because costs, like poor people counting costs and realizing like they have to watch their money is a big deal. And so like Steely Pate's gesture is more generous now that you know exactly what it means. You know exactly what it means in the context among small folk who are poor. But yeah, it's and so you just don't have that in the show. I mean, it's fine. It's a fine scene. Like I say, incredibly well acted, and the dialogue is taken pretty much straight from the short story. But yeah, that's but it is of course the case that poor people are more generous than rich people. And Steely Pate is a generous man. But it's also
actually,
like, yeah.
Once you think about it, Preston, you're right. You're right, because we talked about this last night. You're so right. Dunk in the show is such a nicer person. Both Dunk in the show and the story are nice, but Dunk in the show is such a generous, kind man that, like, he goes out of his way to be like, to try to be as chivalrous as possible. In the short story, he's just trying to make it.
He's just trying to make it. Yeah,
it's not a bad thing. It's
and that's the thing is there is that difference. Like the Dunk of Flea Bottom, the scrappy guy who had to fight for his life, is the one that wins the tourney. That's a pretty much a direct line. I'm not quoting it directly, but it's like something. He says something like when he defeats Arion, Sir Duncan the Tall was defeated, but not Dunk of Flea Bottom. The idea that this scrappy kid who's been fighting for everything his whole goddamn life, makes it. And you kind of don't get that. Like in the show, he's a very innocent, generous, innocent character versus the character in the short story. We're going to get another episode where you find out that Dunk has been through a lot of shit, but it's like, it doesn't really show on the Dunk we've seen so far. The Dunk we've seen so far seems so fucking innocent and wet behind the ears. We find out later he's not, but it is kind of funny. Carmine was also talking about how it contradicts everything. Like Steely Pate shows that the small folk are with Dunk, and yet everyone laughs at Dunk when Otho Bracken farts. So it kind of there's kind of this contradiction. Of like, we're losing the whole class dynamic that the rich are pieces of shit and the poor, like, are good in this story. Because now the poor are just laughing at him too. And only Steely Pate likes him, only Steely Pate and Baelor are the ones that like his cause, and the others that join him.
Supposed to be on team small folk because technically we're all small folk.
Right.
Yeah, the small folk are just assholes. Like they're just douchebags.
Get out of the fucking way. Are you Baelor Targaryen? Then get out of the fucking way. Man, these fucking small folk are all dicks.
Can't you look at the banners, you giant cunt?
Oh yeah, okay. You're right.
Jesus.
You're right. Every fucking small folk. Oh my god, the small folk are all dicks.
What are you? He's a hedge knight. What's that? It's like a knight but sadder. Oh, it probably coming around because Manfred Dondarrion fucked its wife. It? You refer to the guy as it? We've seen a lot of green boys here. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, he's just trying to, come on, Jesus Christ. Real quick, before you get off that super chat, again, Dunk is more Dunk the Lunk in the show than he is in the books. You're right. He is wet, so wet behind the ears. He's so naive and innocent. You're so right. He's just not. It's just not computing for him.
Yeah. It sounds like you're hurting your throat during doing voices. VoiceBox has precise and flappy flaps. Need to use flappy bits and precise to prevent injury. Yeah, I mean, my voice. First of all, like me getting sick and all the time and having kids has killed my voice more than anything. Not that like I think when I first did the Brandon voice, it was I was doing it harsher, but I've lightened up the Brandon voice quite a bit, so he doesn't really like hurt me anymore. It used to be a really gravelly, but now he's it's barely more than like a whisper in the back, over the back of my throat. My voice has been fucked up just from like just sickness after sickness after sickness and a lot of coughing and stuff like that. So, but I do appreciate your concern, and I'll try to find more voice altering tools rather than doing things that can hurt me. Why no black-haired Targaryen king? Just symbolism. Well, Baelor in the short story does have black hair, and he was going to be king, but he didn't make it, and maybe that's the reason. We don't know. When the Hedge Knight was written, we didn't have Bloodraven and the identity of the three-eyed crow and things like that wasn't really established. George, like, there's clear puppet master aspects to the Hedge Knight, but George hadn't revealed the identity of it or hadn't come up with the identity of who these people were. But I would imagine that that Baelor, I mean, when I read the Hedge Knight, I read that like Baelor is murdered. I personally think Baelor was murdered. And I my thinking about this is the fact that like right before going into the battle, Baelor's like, I'm going to go up and fight against the Kingsguard. They're not allowed to hit me. And then after the whole thing's done, Maekar's like, I don't remember hitting Baelor, but I must have. So like, I take that to mean that one of the Kingsguard fucking killed Baelor. And that it was an assassination. Now, again, like George hadn't come up with Bloodraven at the time, but Crakehall is later assigned to Bloodraven in the Mystery Knight. So I tend to believe that Crakehall murdered Baelor. And that was intentional, in order to move succession to someone more favorable. In the short term, that means get it closer to Aerys, who becomes Bloodraven's fucking puppet. Eventually, it's about moving it to Egg, but like in the short term, it's getting rid of Baelor, getting rid of Valar, getting rid of Mataris. What's the other one? Mataris. In order to get Aerys on the throne, so that Bloodraven can essentially rule. So that's my theory on it. And that why do this? Well, Baelor doesn't have special, or at least Bloodraven doesn't think Baelor has special genes to hatch dragons. He's trying to get to the special genes to hatch dragons, and he thinks that Egg has those special genes. And so, and when you look at like Egg's, Aerion tries to become a dragon, drinks wildfire. Daron is constantly getting dragon dreams. Aemon, obsessed with prophecy. Egg, obsessed with prophecy, tries to hatch dragon eggs. There's something going on there. There's something going on there. We don't hear about Valar doing that. We don't hear about Baelor doing that. Like that branch isn't so interested in dragon eggs and prophecy and all that. While it's very clear that the children of Maekar are. So I think that when black hair Targaryens come up, like with Jace, there always seems to be somebody trying to keep him off the. I don't know.
It's a curse.
Yeah, the curse. Though I think with Jace it might have been backwards. Like Jace clearly had special genes. He was going around flying dragons, So while with Baelor, I think Bloodraven probably thought the reverse. I mean, isn't the Sworn Sword adaptation going to be hard to keep the hype? You think they'll add Dorne flashbacks and more Blackfire flashbacks? I think they'll add Blackfire flashbacks. I mean, we might get a few like Dorne flashbacks in a sense of a joke. Like, hey, remember that time you did this and this and this? And then they can flash back. You know how like we saw those crazy flashbacks with young Dunk and Arlen like hitting him. And you're like, see big fire in the background. And you're like, what the fuck was that? Like what adventure was that? They might do the same with Dorne, but I don't think they're going to do much with Dorne. But yeah, they're going to fill time with Redgrass Field. And I think that, yeah, when Eustace starts talking about the war and all these heroes, they can flash back and stuff like that. So that's my guess. That's how I would do it. That's just like, how are you going to fill the time? Blackfire shit. I don't know. Got to do something with that budget, because you assume that they're going to get at least the same budget, if not more. Okay. And there's just nothing. You don't need to build like jousting fields and, tilting barriers and have all these horses and all that. You're just in this like dry area with a dam, and castle. You might as well like flash back to the Blackfire Rebellion and show people battling or something. That's it. Or maybe it's time to save money. Oh, we don't have to do anything with sword. And then they can go back. I mean, Mystery Knight, it's back to having a attorney. Fanfic question: can Bran see through Val's carved werewood face pin and Morna's werewood mask? That's very interesting. I'd never thought of that. I mean, that's very interesting. But at the same time, the story has already given the out of like Bran will eventually be able to move beyond the tree, so he doesn't necessarily need the tree or werewood to like to see the world. It would be much more fascinating. I kind of agree with you in that, like, it would be fascinating if he could only see through werewood, and then all of a sudden you're like finding pieces of werewood here or there that he can like see out through. And even then it's, I mean, it's true that those are faces too. There's werewood faces. That's fun though. That's very fun. It's fun and interesting. Maybe we'll add something like that in there. Because he's not yet moving past the werewood. Maybe he could see out of those faces. I hadn't thought of that. That's kind of funny to have a mobile viewing of the world because you've carved a werewood mask. That's funny. We always kind of thought that the roots though were like all connected in a big network. And that was the reason. that all the weirwoods are actually connected underground, but maybe they can get to the weirwood pieces. That's a fun idea. It's a fun idea, but it's not necessarily necessary if like everybody can move beyond the weirwood.
Do you want to tell everybody who the next character is, or did you already do that?
Oh well, I mean they know from the chapter call that the next fanfic chapter will be Jamie. Working on putting together the Jamie. I just with the holidays and then Night of the Seven Kingdoms, it's been hard. But I was working on Jamie today and working on Jamie yesterday, things like that.
Did you finish over analyzing Hedge Knight?
No, no. Overanalyzing. I mean, Hedge Knight. Dunk is coming. We got like what 11 in there. 11 in there. It was good. It was a good run. It was a good run. Learned a lot.
What about redoing Prepping for Winter?
Really? You want to redo Prepping for Winter again? All like 60 some things. Yeah.
What else are you gonna do?
Good times.
What else are you gonna do? What else we got? Skip over and do Prepping for Dream.
And regarding the fanfic, loving dialogue growth, giving great Mantle Wolf Hall vibes. Oh, interesting. Wolf Hall is a 2009 historical novel by English author Hilary Mantel, published by Fourth Estate. I mean, if this, I always do like checking out other books and other dialogue and things like that to when as an example of what of things. So I am always looking for like books that are very well written. That oh god, why was this one in Spanish? I don't want that in Spanish. It's the problem with now major TV sim winner of the book prize. Let me see if I can get any. Trying to see his here we go. Or is this? Yeah, here we go. Archive.org has it. Limited preview. Damn you. Just wanted some. Just wanted an example. Just wanted an example of the writing. It's fun, like it's fun. I don't know. Like I've recently gotten very into like looking at different authors' writing styles. It's something I did, you just never thought of it before. And, I just kind of read stuff and didn't think about it. And then now to be like, this is clunky, or this is smooth. This has really good dialogue. This varies the sentences well. Things like that. Okay. Felled, dazed, silent, he has fallen, knocked full length on the cobbles of the yard. His head turns sideways. His eyes are turned towards the gate, as if someone might arrive to help him out. One blow, properly placed, could kill him now. Blood from the pink gash on his head, which was his father's first effort, is trickling across his face. Add to this, his left eye is blindsided. But if he squints sideways with his right eye, he can see that the stitching of his father's boot is unraveling. The twine has sprung clear from the leather, and a hard knot in it has caught his eyebrow and opened another cut. Very poetic. Much more poetic than George R.R. Martin. George R.R. Martin would focus more on like, yeah, the smoothness of it. But you were talking about specifically the dialogue. The city. The dialogue here, I think I might check this out because, like, George loves his clever dialogue. Everybody's speaking. It's all fucking Gilmore Girls. Everything is like overly clever. So I may check this out in the sense if it has good dialogue, as you're saying. But man, his writing is much more abstract and poetic than George R. R. Martin's. But yes, who's next is Jamie, followed by Danny. So we're gonna do that. It's interesting when like thinking about like George R. R. Martin's like level of poetry, like because some writing is more poetic than others, right? And like George has this very interesting middle balance where his writing is poetic, but it's not too poetic, and it's not too simple and straightforward, it's got this like very perfect equilibrium of like readable readable and beautiful. If you get a little too beautiful, it becomes less readable, right? It's like this interesting balance. The people laughing at Dunk were the small folk, not the nobles, not the small folk. I think it was. I mean, it's odd because we saw specifically the sex worker in there, but did she sneak in? I don't know how she snuck into those seats. I'll have to check the seats again.
First off, the sex worker, you're right, she's sitting with the nobles, and the nobles laugh, right? But if you look closely, when everyone's laughing, you can see the small folk in the back.
Small
laughing.
folk too.
So Tamello is wrong. However, I'll give him this, that Ira Parker did not have the camera pan in on the small folk laughing because I think maybe he felt that was just mean. Yeah, but they were laughing. Also, why remove the part about them like wishing him luck? Why do that?
I don't know. Gotta. That's the thing is in a show where it seems like they're trying to put in extra scenes because they want to pad it out. Why not pad it out?
Right.
Why not have this is stuff where they're like trying, they're begging to try to get their episodes up to 30 to 40 minutes in runtime,
What's weird is like, I don't know why Ira Parker didn't do this thing with Dunk where Dunk is just walking around the first few episodes and he's just helping people out left and right. Maybe there's a woman who's trying to put up a tent and she's too short, but because he's so tall, like, he helps her do that. And she goes, "Thank you, kind sir." And like, yeah, of course.
Something like that.
It's like a whatever. Every episode.
Show these little things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. Just as an example, like, they always say that like when you're starting a story, if you're starting a story, you introduce the protagonist. And then the first thing you're supposed to do with a protagonist is you're supposed to have that protagonist do something that sums up their character, in that first page and makes the reader like the character. So like you think something like Raiders of the Lost Ark, we're instantly introduced to Indiana Jones. He does this cool whip trick where he like, lashes a gun out of somebody's hand. He steals the idol from the temple, and then he runs away from the Belloc and the natives. And you learn everything you need to know about Indiana Jones in that beginning, and you like him, And so, yeah, all these little things of like, well, what has the character done? What sums up this character? Being helpful, being like just there for people. little actions like that would help. Yeah. And have
Instead, he only rushes to this girl's defense because he has a crush on her. If this was like a little old lady or like a young boy, would he have done the same? Doing these little things in earlier episodes where he helps out random people would have put a
yeah,
pin
I
in
mean,
that.
I would say that Dunk being a good person is supposed to be expressed through his treatment of Egg. You know, that he's supposed to be thinking, you know, he's a poor little kid. I should really take him in, and then he feels guilty that he doesn't, and then he takes him in. And he's like, okay, I'm going to take this boy in because he needs help. And you're supposed to think Dunk is good based on his treatment of Egg.
Lady Pie here says if Dunk doesn't have the small folk on his side, he feels like more of an underdog, so it hits harder when Baelor sides with him. I don't know, like it still hits harder when he does in the story, and the small folk still side with him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
If everyone hates Egg, does Aemon not love him? Yeah. So certainly we have no evidence in the written A Song of Ice and Fire that Aegon the Unlikely has a bad reputation. There is not a single person that speaks ill of Aegon the Unlikely. Like no one. So, which makes me think that if Aegon was doing something bad at Summerhall, that secret died with him and the people at Summerhall. And that only, you know, is for Dunk's eyes only, that we know that Aegon, that Egg becomes a crazy motherfucker. Because no one speaks of it. No, I mean, they speak of the tragedy of Summerhall and the folly of Summerhall, but no one seems to blame it on Egg, you know, which is weird. Because they'll blame like Aerion Brightflame's folly on him, you know. Like if I said, did we learn, this is Davos. Did we learn nothing from Aerion Brightflame, from the Nine Mages, from the Alchemists? Did we learn nothing from Summerhall? No good has ever come from these dreams of dragons. Okay. But no one ever blames Egg. No one ever says, crazy Aegon. The shadow of Summerhall haunted him. Summerhall was where the prince loved best. You know, we gorged on grief at Summerhall. It's such a passive tragedy, right? Rhaegar, I thought the smoke was the fire that, yeah.
It's almost as if Egg is a victim of the dragon dream tragedy and all that.
Right, but
almost like framing it.
You know, Aerion Brightflame is a victim of dragon dreams, and he gets blamed. You know, so it sounds like Egg, you know, didn't do anything else bad, but something happened. I mean, or he was so good that even if this one bad thing was there, it doesn't interfere with it. I mean, I suppose they do say that Aegon's the Unlikely's reign was troubled. Barristan Selmy had known many kings. He had been born during the troubled reign of Aegon the Unlikely, beloved by the common folk, had received his knighthood by his hands. So at least Barristan Selmy was honored to get Aegon the Unlikely's dubbing. So something was troubled, but then I think it was, you know, there's a lot of Blackfire stuff going on, so it could be troubled in that sense, you know. So I don't know. I don't think we have no evidence that people hate Dunk, that hate Egg. No evidence that people hate Egg. Not a single person has ever spoken ill of him. which is weird because what are the exact words, Carmine? Everyone will that you know and love will rejoice in your death or something.
Yes.
Well, that's clearly not true. Clearly not true. I mean, Amen definitely contradicts that. Yeah.
Still needs to be a discussion we have with Elio.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Do you think Bloodraven plotted to get the ghost of High Heart into Aegon V's court using Jenny of Oldstone seducing Duncan, and Aegon V talking with her leads to Summerhall? It's kind of funny that like the Ghost of High Heart is also an albino, right? Is she? She has white hair. I guess it doesn't say she's an albino. Oh wait, no, she's an albino. I was right the first time. Jenny of Oldstones came to. I mean, my thought about Jenny of Oldstones was always that there was something about the special genes of people in the Riverlands that people were trying to marry into, and I'm only getting this from Aegon the Fourth, Aegon the Unworthy, and how he wants to fuck Brackens and Blackwoods, and that there's something about Bracken and Blackwoods. Now you could argue that Bracken and Blackwoods have the old Northern First Men genes in them. Blackwoods coming from the north and settling in the Riverlands and then intermarrying with the Brackens. So like they both houses have these genes. But then we're talking about the most powerful telepath. The most powerful telepath in our story is Bran, who is half Tully, half Stark, and so like he's getting something from his mother, it seems, and maybe from her Went or her Lothston or something, and so Jenny of Oldstone seems to be from like House Mud, but they were First Men as well, so. The idea is that there's First Men blood up there, but there's Men blood in the Riverlands. And so, I do think that like Duncan was thinking about special genes with Jenny of Oldstones. Now, why he abdicated or whatever, I don't know. Or maybe it didn't matter. They just wanted Jenny, because Jenny and Duncan are there at Summerhall. So maybe they're trying to hatch dragon eggs or whatever. And did they marry? For some reason, the Jenny of Oldstones has a scene of them getting married in front of a werewood. And it's like, I don't know where that comes from, but all right. And I'm sorry. I mean, Duncan the Small is half Blackwood anyway, so he's maybe getting special genes from there. So that's the thing. You're getting a lot of this shit, right? So like Bloodraven, who's half Blackwood, Bloodraven is half Targaryen, half Blackwood, right? So we're already, and we know that he has special powers. Okay, so we know that like Lurkin and the Riverlands are special genes, and so we know that Aegon the Unworthy was fucking Blackwoods and Brackens trying to produce special gene people, maybe, and Egg fucking marries a Blackwood. And then Duncan the Small like goes off finding Jenny of Oldstones. And so I think they're trying. I think it's probably Bloodraven's plan. Yeah. Or, I mean, maybe Egg and Duncan the Small are all in on this like fucking special gene hatch and egg shit, but like that would be my guess. And then they're all at heart. But yeah, I think the Ghost of High Heart sounds like she was in on it. If she brought her daughter, right? Is the Ghost of High Heart Jenny's mom? I don't even know if they're related. She's no, I guess they're just friends. Jenny claims she was one of the children of the forest. After hearing the woods witch prophecy that the prince that the promise would come from the line of Aerys and Rhaela. Man, the Woods Witch was at Summerhall too. Ghost of High Heart was at Summerhall as well. I guess. Yeah. No, I'm completely. Yeah. I definitely think she's in on it. I think Bloodraven's in on it. I think they're trying to. I think they're doing Rhaegar and they're doing a Rhaegar and Lyanna. They're doing special gene shit. Like I think that's what they're doing. They're trying to find the right match. And it's all related to like Blackwood Bracken, first men, Riverland's blood or something, you know. How did I originally hear about Ice and Fire books? Before Game of Thrones came out, a friend of mine actually forced me to buy the book. We were in a shop and he was just like, you have to read this. You're buying this. Of course, he didn't buy it for me. He was like, you have to buy it. You know, that's just him. And he's like, it's coming out soon. It's going to star Sean Bean. It's incredible. And I was like, okay. That was the first time I read it. Thank you, CG. Do you think the fanfic could use more walk and talk? People travel but only seem to converse once static. Is it just haven't had many opportunities yet? Do you mean like walk and talk like West Wing and stuff where they're like walking down halls constantly? I mean, definitely, you know, definitely, you know, I want more variance in how chapters are and what people do in these chapters and things like that. Trying to think how often characters walk and talk in Ice and Fire. Sam walks and thinks a lot in his when he's trying to make Jon Lord Commander. Tyrion and Jorah do a walk and talk in Tyrion 7. I'm trying to think of it, you know. There's a good walk and talk with Arianne in the Arianne chapters in the fanfic. She does a pretty good travel. I mean, they go into the castle. It's a moving chapter. You know, they get into the castle, have conversation, go up the stairs. You know, So there's at least some of that in that. I'm trying to think anything else. Melisandre, I mean, she goes to different locations. She does some talking to her guards when she's walking around, but I suppose there hasn't been that many opportunities. What's another? I mean, the Tyrion 3 is a chapter on the move. They're moving around quite a bit in that one. At the battle. Very convenient that Valar's armor fits Baelor perfectly. He's really aging gracefully. That's true. It's true. I mean, maybe that's why, like, the hit to the helm or something, like, hurt him more, is that the helm wasn't the right size. I don't know. Egg victim goes to higher heart. Well, I mean, Rhaegar's mom survives, right? So Rhaegar's mom is definitely there. So there's at least one other. Is King Aerys there? Yeah, right. King Aerys. I mean, he's not king yet, but like Aerys should be there, and so should. So I mean, there's some survivors. You know, Rhaegar, because Rhaegar's born there, so at least Aerys and Rhaela and the Ghost of High Heart survive. I don't know who else though. Yeah, remember the prophecies are bullshit. That's true. Wolf Hall is also a great 2-season series on PBS. Okay, I'll have to check it out. But yeah, I'll check it out if. I mean, it was very good writing, and I do like stuff I do like really good writing as like inspiration for stuff, just on how to like structure sentences and stuff. Like sometimes I'll take like a really good sentence from another book and like look at how it was constructed, and then change all of the words, but still have kind of the same sort of construction, things like that. I hope Fire and Blood comes out and Summer Howl's just skipped. That'd be funny. Kind of like Rhyme Red Wine.
I was just about to say that. Oh shit!
Nothing about Rhyme Red Wine, man. Fucking A.
That's okay though. We got enough pages on that sex worker who plot was supposed to put into get Jaehaerys to cheat on Alysanne. Like that was important, I guess.
Yeah. Like Jaehaerys' like duel against the Stinger, and all these like crazy little stories where you're just like, all right, fine, whatever. Ghost of High Heart conflicts with itself is that Jenny accidentally died at Summerhall. Yes. Oh no, talking while moving happens a lot in the books. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess like Tyrion in the wheelhouse, people walking around the Red Keep. Why does Maekar have his armor at Ashford? That is a good question. Why Maekar had his armor but Baelor did not? I don't know. Let me see here. Is this brought up in? Let me see here. Oh God, so many references to armor in the story. I did not think to enter the list at Ashford, so I brought no armor. My son was good enough to lend me his. Okay. But how does that explain Maekar? Was Makar planning on entering the lists? Oh, you know what? I think it's explained in the sense that, like, yes, Makar. Now this is coming back to me. When we first meet Makar, he is actually. They go into his dress quite a bit, actually, um, and the idea is that Makar is super insecure, right? And so he has to, like, he's the younger brother and he's insecure about about Baelor. So he is dressed um he is dressed in, even though he's just like hanging out in the great hall and they're not doing anything. He's actually dressed in like kind of armor like clothing. Um it says here, I remember going over this passage. Not finding, he didn't find Plumber in the turret, so he goes to the Great Hall. And then they says, thickly built and powerful, the prince, he was surely a prince, wore a leather brigadine covered with silver studs beneath a heavy black cloak trimmed with ermine, right? Pox scars marked his cheek. So this dude, in his spare fucking time, when he's just chilling, wears a brigadine. And in case like you don't know what I'm talking about, like a brigadine is kind of this doublet that you put little plates on the inside. And so he's essentially wearing ornamental armor just on a fucking Tuesday, right? Like this is just like what he's doing. So like this is the whole idea. While meanwhile, Baelor is dressed, specifically Dunk says that Baelor is dressed like modestly for a prince or a lord. And so I think the idea, if I were to write in the reason on why Makar brought his armor, is that he was insecure and he always travels with his armor and he wants to like enter areas like wearing his armor because he wants to look martial and military like and remind people of his role in the at the Redgrass Field and stuff like that. And that he's cosplaying here today and all of that shit. Like, and that's why he brought his armor, because he's so fucking insecure about Baelor. And Baelor is like, whatever, I don't need to do that shit. So that's the explanation I'd give on like why Makar doesn't have his armor, or why Makar does have his armor. I missed a knight who kept his vows, not just moving, but thematically important as well. Plus the irony of Dunk technically not being a knight. Oh, right. What's his vow? I'm trying to they do spend, I think they add a few more lines about the vows. Hey, Trey is here. Hello, Trey. Hello. How are you?
Hi. Hello. I'm doing good. How about you?
Let me add a window. I know you're wanting to talk about historical Jesus tonight. Um,
No, I'm willing to talk about anything. It was funny. I missed that. I've been missing some good conversations.
Historical Jesus.
Yeah, how did people take it? How did people take it?
Well, obviously, as with anything with Jesus, people get very emotional. Even when they're atheists, they get very emotional. How dare you say? And so, essentially, like I say that the truth of things is that there's very little evidence of historical Jesus, and I'd like to take that a bit further and say that like. What it means to be historical Jesus also is very hard to pinpoint or define. Like, what do you mean? Like, what is sufficient to say like Jesus is the same character that we're talking about here? And I bring this up because it's like, okay, say we're talking about Hercules, okay? No one thinks there's a historical Hercules. But everyone says that like Hercules was inspired by real heroes, and there was obviously like heroic dudes that existed in history. And so could you say that there was a historical Hercules because we have a Hercules tale? You know? And so like, and this is what I'm saying, like when we say like what is Jesus? Like what do you mean? And you say, okay, well, was there a man named Jesus of Nazareth? Well, no, because they didn't call him Jesus. They called him Joshua. His name was Yeshua. Like, no, there was not a historical Jesus. But was there a historical Joshua of Nazareth? Okay. Just a guy with a name, Joshua? Yeah, there was fucking hundreds of dudes named Joshua in Nazareth. Like, what do you mean? You know, like we're not specifically talking about a guy with a name. Like we're specifically talking about like something. You know, you're like, okay, well, historically, was there a guy who like walked on water? No. Like, was there a guy who like made water into wine? No. So like, what is specifically like what actions like are really important here? Like, was there a guy that walked into a temple and flipped over like exchange tables? I don't know. You know, like, did that event happen? Did
maybe?
You know, like what was he crucified? Lots of people were crucified. So like how does it separate like, you know, historical Hercules and historical Jesus? Like, because no one would say that like historical Hercules existed, or you know, like or like the cult of Isis. Clearly, someone inspired the cult of Isis. Does that mean we could call that person Isis? Well, no. People would be like, no, that doesn't count. Because Isis is a god.
Would you say Alexander the Great existed?
Well, yeah.
Well, we have more, according to my pastor, we have more evidence for Jesus than we do for Alexander the Great.
I have heard this. I've heard this same exact claim, and it's not true.
It's just not true. I mean, how many fucking coins and statues and like? We
gotta set this up. We gotta set this up.
The thing is with Alexander, you have contemporary documents. You know, you have contemporary coins.
Wait, Trey. Before you go into this, I gotta ask: are you back home?
Yeah, I'm back home. Nice. You can tell by the Wi-Fi.
Is it much warmer down there?
Oh yeah. There's no snow.
Nice. I got to go to America tomorrow, so I'm heading right into the cold. But yeah, so it's weird because, and it's funny because like because people are so like angry about it and like wanting people to really believe that there's all this evidence, like it kind of shows that like a lot of the documents can't be trusted because people have always been trying to do this. Which is weird because so a lot of people are like, "Oh, Preston, you have a fringe position by saying that there's little evidence that Jesus existed." Now, you know, and I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. Like people also like a majority of scholars think there was a historical Jesus, whatever that fucking means. And it's like a majority of scholars seem to believe that Josephus is a legitimate source for Jesus. And that's clearly fucking faked. Like, I don't understand how a majority of fucking like scholars can look at Josephus and be like, "This is real." I just don't fucking get it. It's so clearly faked.
Yes, like I think the position is that like it's not unlikely that a historical person like that is a religious movement leader or whatever existed in the
Yeah.
first century AD. But like that's all you can say. That's
That's
all you can say. You can't say
But like I say,
anything
like,
about
but
this
the same
line.
way, like somebody started the cult of Isis, like that happened.
Yeah.
And again, like I can't prove a negative. I'm not saying Jesus didn't exist. Like that's proof. Like that's you can't do that. That's you can't prove a negative. All I'm saying is there's very there's no contemporary, there's no trusted contemporary source of Jesus existing. You have what you have is like some sources saying that a Christian cult exists, like a generation later, you know.
Yeah. And that's best case scenario.
Yeah. I mean, well, obviously a Christian cult exists. We have Christianity today. It was at one point a very small cult. Like that's, you know. But man, people get angry. People get angry about this shit.
You get the gospels, like you get the gospels that are like a generation later and stuff.
But again, like you go through the gospels and you go, okay, these are things that one contradict. Characters do not appear. Significant characters do not appear in other gospels. Like Judas is not in like some gospels, and like you wouldn't put Judas in there. Like really ridiculous things like that, and they contradict. And what are you supposed to say? Like, do I think that there were angels in a cave? No. Then what do we say? Like, then why are we using the gospels as proof of Jesus' existence? Like, are we saying that Jesus walked on water? Well, no. Then what are we using the gospels for? I just don't get it. I don't get, like, you know, people's obsession over it. And like, say you've like, and like, say you prove that historical Jesus exists, whatever that means. Again, like, what does it mean to be historical Jesus? Like, what events do you think define,
or like the core, like it's like what defines Jesus, right? You know, what do you need to be Jesus and not some other historical figure?
Because clearly it's not his name, you know. Does he have to be from Nazareth? Is that like an essential one? You know, it's clearly not his miracles, which is the fucking bulk. Like, did he have to give a Sermon on the Mount?
Like, I guess he's claiming to be a messianic figure. Like, and the thing is, there's many historical people that claim to be messianic figure at that time.
Right.
So it's like, take your pick.
Take your pick. So it's like, what does it even mean to be like historical Jesus at this point? Like,
you're so right. I never thought of it like that. That like it's like historical Achilles. Like I think like now, like, you know, there might be a historical Trojan War, and there may have been like Greek warriors there. But like, what can you say outside of that?
Right? Like, does that make some of those warriors like historical Achilles?
Yeah,
because clearly, like, Achilles was based on a bunch of soldiers. So like, they're all historical Achilles, I guess. But people get pissed. People do get pissed.
You are so right that there's like a double standard with like Jesus too, where it's like people are willing to take really bad sources and really fudge things. Like that's the problem with a lot of ancient people, like historical people, where it will be like, this general, this Roman general, all our evidence is like this one historical account, you know, like Plutarch or something is like their entire life is just mentioned there. And you're like, they probably existed, but like, I have no reason to think they didn't, but like,
right. But that's the thing flimsy. Is like, what, you know, how much money would you bet on it? You know, like, like if it was really like, say you're reading Plutarch and he's like, oh, this one general like went in and like, you know, had a war and, you know, 10,000 people died. Okay, great. I have no reason to think this didn't happen. But at the same time, if someone were like, okay, we got a time machine and we're going to go back there, how much money do you want to bet that this happened? Like, I would bet, like, that's the thing is, I would zero fucking confidence that it actually happened. Like zero. I would bet no money, right? Yeah. So then what are we talking about? Like, Like, how much confidence do you have that the Sermon on the Mount happened?
Ooh.
You know?
Ooh. It's like 15% or something like that. I don't
Right.
even,
Like,
low,
okay,
5. I don't know.
would you bet $10,000 on that? You're like, well, $10,000 is a lot of
Yes.
money, dude. Like,
So, okay, you're saying Jesus
Carmine
probably
says
wasn't
yes.
real. Jesus probably wasn't real, but that Muhammad guy, legit though, right?
well, Muhammad's different. Muhammad, we have so many more. We have so many more written
The
historical
problem with
documents.
Jesus, the
Yeah.
problem with Jesus, unlike Muhammad or like Alexander the Great or something, where like Jesus had very little political impact during his lifetime in like the immediate aftermath. It takes like a generation or more for him to have like any significant impact on the world. So like he didn't leave much of an impact versus like Muhammad, who's like leading armies and like storming cities and stuff, and you can see that archaeologically, or you can see like trade disrupted. Like it's a little different.
Yeah.
It leaves very little footprint is the problem with Jesus. He leaves very little
Mhm.
footprint on the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
As opposed to
That's
like
true.
Attila the Hun or something, you know, where
Right.
it's like you're seeing those battles, you're
Ra.
seeing that those kingdoms fall and stuff. Yeah.
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 It's so very funny. But it's funny when, people like, I think somebody wrote like, in my comments, like, Preston's just this fringe crazy position. And you're just like, I'm just asking, like, what evidence do we have? Like, this isn't like a fringe position where I'm sitting here like claiming I know better than a biologist about vaccines or something, where like people have to go to school for many, many years. Like you don't like, there's very few documents to read, and they're all online. You can all look them up. Like you can look up Josephus. You can look up Tacitus's 100 years later, like reference. You can read them. They're all there. They're all translated for you. There's just not that much. Like it's not hard. This is not like going and getting a PhD in biology when people are like, well, all the scholars say, like, the scholars of what? Like there's just so little.
I think we have a better shot of the Chickenosaurus being real than anything. Trey, what do you know about that?
That the Epstein files came out, and I was vindicated. I was proven right years ago. There's a paleontologist. I think he's retired now. He's very famous. He's Jack Horner is his name. He
Sat
is
in
the
the corner.
direct Jack Corner sat in the corner. He stuck his finger in the pie. He's got an unfortunate name. Jack Horner is the you'll probably know him. He's the direct inspiration of Alan Grant in like Jurassic Park. Like,
okay,
get the fuck out of here. Are you serious?
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. Like in the book, it's even more explicit. Like I've read the Jurassic Park book, and I'm like, wow, that is literally just Jack Horner. He was very famous back in the day because he did a lot of excavations in like Montana. He like had like this theory. I really don't like his theories and stuff where he's like T-Rex was not a predator, like T-Rex was a scavenger or something like that. Asinine, stupid ass theory. Anyways, and he got in like a big like debates with this other famous paleontologist of like the 90s named like Backer. Anyways, he was a notable paleontologist, and he like was spearheading this project called the Chickenosaurus project, where like he wanted to, just for fun, basically just for like kicks, was to genetically modify a chicken and turn it into a dinosaur, like by using like atavisms and stuff, like triggering like repressed genes.
So like bringing back the direwolf, but like bringing back a dinosaur with a chicken.
Yes, where they were gonna like turn on like the genes for like wing claws and like tails and teeth and stuff. And I made a video like years ago. This was like 2020 or something, like 6 years ago, talking about like how, because I was a genetics major, and I talked to professors about this. Like I asked them like, "What's your opinion on this?" And they'd be like, "Yeah, this is stupid." And as it turned, like the project is taking forever. It's still apparently in development, and it basically revealed that like you can't do that with like a chicken. Like it just doesn't work. So he was like, what if we genetically modify it just to look like a dinosaur? Just like throw random shit in there, like the direwolf thing where they just like make it albino for some reason or have white fur. Anyways, it came out and so my video was like I was like the one person that was saying that this is stupid, it's a waste of time, I think it's like not good science, it's not worth even like funding. It came out that he was like best friends with Jeffrey Epstein. Like
oh jeez.
He's in the emails and he's like, what does he say? He's like, I had a great time with you and the girls. Please send my best regards to them. And I'm very envious of your life, Jeffrey. And you're like, whoa.
So, it's so weird. Yeah. Like so many scientists and like nerd guys, like Bill Gates, Stephen Hawking.
Well, I think Jeffrey Epstein was also like a weird supremacist. And so he was like looking into like genetic programs, like straight out of James Bond, like Moonraker. Like I think he was like talking with geneticists about like having some sort of like project of genetic purity and shit. Like he was a weird.
He wanted an uncloven pig so he could get past like Jewish, Hebrew, like kosher laws and stuff like that.
Yeah, he was fucking.
Which that already exists. He wasn't aware that mulefoot pigs already exist. But okay. But anyways, so he was a big weirdo, and you're right, Carmine, that he was like friends with a bunch of these scientists, especially older scientists. Like I don't know, Stephen Hawking and Lawrence Krauss or something like that. Like I don't know, he was friends with like Richard Dawkins and like those Diderot atheists.
On Call of Duty calling 11-year-olds the N-word. I mean, what do you want? And he got banned for that, by the way. So what do you want? I probably played against him. Like I was playing Call of Duty.
All right. Here's the weird thing. Okay, I was listening to a podcast with that was interviewing Michael Cera. Nothing bad to say about Michael Cera. This is not ending with Michael Cera's on the Epstein list or anything.
Oh, thank God.
But the question that they gave Michael, and he chooses a random story. And that random story was, one day I decided I wanted to have lunch with Gene Wilder. And so he calls his agent, and his agent calls Gene Wilder's agent, and they set up a lunch. And Michael Cera goes and has lunch with Gene Wilder. And he talks about this whole story and how wonderful Gene Wilder was and stuff like that. But it was also very, like, and it struck me weird in that celebrity, like actors at least, they could just call up other actors and, like, hang out, and they'll say yes. Like, I always wanted, like, he worshipped Gene Wilder growing up, and he's just like, I want to have lunch with Gene Wilder. So he has his agent call Gene Wilder's agent, and it just fucking happens. Now, this is very similar to Carmine. Carmine will, because we're on the YouTube sphere, like, Carmine will contact other YouTubers and be like, let's chat. And the thing is, most of the time, if not, half of the time, a majority of the time, they're like, sure. And they chat with you, Carmine, right?
Star Wars Explained just messaged me as you said that, but yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, within these spheres, you can just like, call people up, which is weird because I call no one. But, like, I just, like this is it. Like this is our Epstein Island. It's like fucking
you're not on the
Trading Explainer, Preston Jacobs.
You're not on your Yeti, by the way. Just so you know, your mic messed up.
Okay. Can just fucking call each other up, and so it's weird when you see like Chomsky, Noam Chomsky, like hanging out with Epstein, and you're like, why is Noam Chomsky hanging out with Epstein? He just called him up probably, and they just became friends because they just could. Like,
Yeah.
you know, Epstein's sitting at home been like, who do I want to call today? Noam Chomsky, you know, and so he has these fucking like random connections like that. And so I think the same thing happened with this geneticist. He's just like, I want to talk to the chicken guy, the chicken dinosaur guy, chickenosaurus guy, and become friends with him. I mean, I think I also remember like
Trey, check Discord.
Christopher again. Why is this fucking doing? Ania, but like the I want to say the Pakistani woman that wrote a book about what's going on with my fucking mic here.
Yeah, Carmine told me to tell you about the mic.
No, I
don't say that.
I'm keeping an eye on it.
Yeah, you would tell me. Why don't you say something? Why you telling me?
Hey, look, man, he yells at me.
I don't know. It just keeps going in and out.
It's good now. Better. It's good now.
Yeah. Anyway, Christopher Hitchens like was talking about Malala. I got it. Malala Yousafzai. And he's just like, he reads her book and he's just like, I want to be her friend. And so he just like contacts her and he's just like, we're friends now. And it's the same. I think he did the same with Salman Rushdie. He just wanted to be Salman Rushdie's friend. And so it just happened. And it's like, when you're fucking super famous, you can just fucking do that. And people are just friends with, you know, it's so weird.
Hey,
but
I want to make this very clear. You kind of cut out earlier when because like your sentence was the Epstein files, just like Carmine. Can you clear that up? What the fuck you meant? Because just for optics sake.
Just like how Carmine was going to Epstein Island.
Oh my
over and
God.
over.
Jesus Christ.
No, I said that like I was making a joke that that this podcast is our fucking Epstein Island. Like that's just like celebrities hanging out. Except that there's no sex involved and no underage.
There's no sex involved. Just
what
Jesus.
Is this, David Library stream?
Just talking about the historicity of Jesus at Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones power scaling. You know,
Game of Thrones popped up on. I put a tweet about it. I'm sure you saw it, Trey. That Tyrion quote popped up in Epstein's files.
Oh yeah, George R.R. Martin's in the Epstein files.
Yeah. We did. We talked about that.
What is Tyrion in the sheets? Jon Snow on the streets? What is the quote?
it was the Game of Thrones line. A Game of Thrones line. A mind needs a book like a sword needs a whetstone.
Sword needs a whetstone. Fuck off.
Is there enough time that Dunk not being a knight leads to no true knights contemporarily? So unfortunately, I thought like this idea has come to me before because Barristan. The idea is that Barristan is knighted by Egg, and therefore like Barristan ends up knighting all sorts of people. And if Egg, we don't know who knighted Egg, but maybe Dunk knighted Egg. And so the idea is that Egg is truly not a knight, and therefore Barristan's not truly a knight, and on and on and on. The problem with this theory is that if you're king, it doesn't matter. You can knight people once you're king. And so like a king, even if Egg is not really a knight and got knighted by Dunk, once he's king, his knighting becomes real. So that's the thing, is that any knight can make a knight, but a king can make a knight too. So unfortunately, though it would have been a fun idea, that all of these people are not knights, unfortunately a king can make a knight. So
do you feel like Egg could be knighted by anyone other than Dunk? Or I guess with Dunk like weasel out of it again. He's like, oh, I can't.
I still don't know the words. Fuck.
I still don't know the words. George R. Martin doesn't know the words.
I got to take a shit. Why don't you handle this, Sir Bennis? Whatever. Right, Sir Bennis. Sir Bennis just disappears, right?
Yeah, like I think the implication is that we're gonna see Sir Bennis again, right? He runs off with the gold.
He'll be in Winterfell
but like
when they get there.
we'll never see him. We'll never see him again because they might not get him anymore.
They're not getting anymore. But this idea that that they'll eventually run into Sir Bennis, that villain again.
He stole all the valuable items at the tower and fled. So yeah, he's like an outlaw now. Yeah, if this story, that would be interesting, to be exciting to see the return of Bennis, but not going to happen. Not going to happen.
Trey, did you watch the episode 4? I'm sure you did, right?
I did.
Did you like it?
I did. I haven't watched it with I've been showing it to my parents because I've seen all the episodes already with you guys, but so it's been very interesting because I'll watch it with my dad, and my dad's like, why is it Sir SRER less SER? Why is it not SIR? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm sorry.
You're like, and a lot of names are spelled with Y's and moved around for no reason. It just is. It's just.
See, you know what? Add that to the list of questions to ask George. So we got Harengan Mines, Avalon. Why is it SCR? Add that to the list.
Why is it SCR?
He's just going to be like, to be different. That's it. That's all.
Where is Sir Bennis? Did he do Summerhome? I love that comment.
Did Sir Bennis finally catch up to them? He getting revenge.
Sir Bennis lives happily ever after.
like would we see the return of like what's his name, Fossaway? Like I'm trying to think, like, if I'm making the Dunkin' Egg, like, am I returning characters and plot lines? Like, who am I returning? Like, I get, because that's the sad thing about like watching this season is I know that we're never going to see any of these characters again. Like they're just not coming back.
Except for Lionel. Lionel, I guess, shows up in the final season, right? If
that's like so far away. That's like 30 years from now.
I know. So Duncan, would you like some cider? We make it ourselves. I love him.
That's an improvement, man. It was wine in the short story. He's like, oh, let's go get some wine. It's like, you fucking own apple orchards, dude. I mean, it's an improvement. The show switched to the cider.
My cousin's too ripe. My cousin's rotten to the core.
Just all apple all day. Knock the seeds out of him. He's thin-skinned. Like how many apple pods can you get?
How appetizing.
Is George R. Martin still deciding on whether to kill Sansa? Does that mean George R. Martin is planning to let Rickon live and become Lord of Winterfell? I mean, right now the Sansa story is getting pretty darn interesting. I can't see him killing Sansa for a while, especially considering she's like point of view and in the Vale and stuff like that. So just in a point of view sense, like, it's too interesting to let her die. I mean, you'd have to get little later on, but I don't know. I mean, what is George planning? I don't know if he had really any plans about Rickon or any of that. Like, if he had a better plan, I think things would be more written. I just don't think he knows where it's going, and he claims all the time that he doesn't like having a plan because it bores him, and he doesn't want to write. He wants to see where the story goes, which is weird because contradictory. He's constantly writing these outlines for fucking people. So I don't know.
He's writing outlines and doesn't follow them.
Yeah, he writes outlines and then doesn't follow them. Yeah, so. Everybody loves my geckos.
The gecko.
At least you don't have a shock collar around it.
Yeah, that's true. Preston's been abusing geckos.
Nice little Hassan reference for the audience.
Oh, okay. That's what.
I was so relieved when I wasn't mentioned often in the Epstein files. Was worrying about that for over a decade. That's the funny thing is, like, if you'd be nervous, like, this thing is, there must be some people that went to Epstein Island and there wasn't a party going on, and then they just like are like, okay, I went to the beach for a couple of days and then went home.
Where's Tucker?
Nice.
Chris Tucker.
That's literally a Always Sunny in Philadelphia bit. That's Danny DeVito. He's like, I didn't know, I was scuba diving.
But no, Preston, there is. Chris Tucker flew on his jet to go to South Africa, and I think Chris Tucker is but just to go to South Africa. So
yeah. It's a weird thing because then the question is like, how much of an open secret was everything? You know, like, especially the people. Well, there's all the people that like are in the Epstein files post like 2008, 2009, where you're like, what the fuck were you doing? Like, this is like me calling up, I don't know, like Woody Allen or something and being like, let's hang. Like, everything's out. You know everything about him. Oh, jeez. So that's the weird thing, is the people that are still hanging out with him after the arrest, after it's all known.
Trey, did you watch the video I sent you? It's like 5 seconds. It's about Ira Parker saying he cut out a poop joke, and there was this huge argument.
I think I saw that on Twitter.
On Twitter,
I think
there was a huge argument.
Yeah, Ron Weasley.
There's a huge argument on Twitter of people saying that mechanism for shitting that's not a thing. That was never a thing in medieval times, and people arguing back and forth. I don't know.
When he was describing the weird like rope tree thing, why not just like squat?
You can't convince me it's not a fetish. You can't convince me it's not.
It's weird. It's weird that he's so hot. Like, he wants so many poo-poo fart jokes. Like, it is a little strange, you know.
The rope thing is very odd because it's like, look, it's hard for me to squat. It is, but people that squat regularly have no problem squatting. You know, like, squat toilets are fairly common, and and certainly 30 years ago. Were ubiquitous in Spain, in Italy, in China, in the Middle East. Like, squat toilets were everywhere. Europe, Asia. People squatted to shit. Like, that's just what they fucking did. I didn't understand the rope thing. Like I could see me appreciating that rope, but not really that much. Like, I just,
I'm just thinking of like latrines and stuff, which is what do you think he's describing? He's describing a latrine. I don't really see latrines with ropes. Like,
I've never seen really one like that in my life. I think he's talking about like a trough, and then he thinks the people. So, I mean, I lived in China for a while, and so I have a lot of crazy stories about, like, and a lot of experiences with squat toilets. I mean, there's one time where I went into, I was out at a park in Shanghai. It was back in '99, and I need to take a shit. Like, oh my god, emergency! So I make it to the bathroom, and it's this huge fucking hall, huge enormous hall, with two troughs at either side, and inside there it's China. Everywhere's crowded. It's like 30 dudes smoking and reading the newspaper, and it's like foreigner runs in. And like 30 dudes just turn their head like, well, this is fucking interesting, you know? Like, and I'm just like, oh crap, you know? And it's like, I go into the corner and I can't do the Chinaman squat. And so I'm just like, I have to fully take off my pants. Because the thing about squatting, if you can squat properly, your pants are at your ankles and you can shit like beyond them and not hit your pants. But as a Westerner, I squat a little differently. Like, I'm more like a catcher squat, and so your pants are right underneath you if you do a catcher squat. And so, they're all looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, you've fully removed your pants to take a shit. And they're all just staring at me because it's China in 1999. Everyone's just staring. Like, there's no like politeness of like not staring. It's just like 30 dudes watching me, like, clumsily, like, sitting here with like one hand down on the ground and squatting and all of that. But like, I got it done. Like, it's not like there was no need to set up ropes. like I've never seen. And granted, if I were doing it my whole life, I'd be able to do it. Like, my knees and everything would be different, you know. But like, so if you're in a world where everyone's squatting to take a shit constantly, like, there'd be no need for ropes. I've never seen a rope at a fucking.
I've never seen a rope in the
at a trough or a latrine. I've never seen a rope in my life. I don't know what's that about. Like, it's weird. I mean, I get it. I get what he's saying. I mean, it's also why, like, at the beginning, Dunk is like standing up while he's like shitting, which, like, he didn't want to sit down anywhere. Like, they're on a hill. Like, you can figure something out. Like, you've ever been camping before? You just find a log and you kind of sit on the end of the log, you know. But it's just weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just went on a long shit story. So
no, it's interesting about, like, I don't know. I was thinking about, like, what's the history of shitting? Like, I was watching the episode with my parents, and they asked me, like, what did people use for toilet paper back then? And I was like, you know, like, I did learn recently that Romans that people a lot of times claim that Romans used the sponge on a stick. It had like a special name, and then it was like reused. It was like passed around without being disinfected. I think that's overstated. There's evidence of people using like leaves, like fig leaves, and like what's it called, like cloth, I think is another one. So yeah. Like, I guess that's it too. I know in the Wild West people used cob, like the corn on the cob. They would like eat it, and then you would, instead of throwing it away, you're like, I could use this to wipe my ass. So
yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Westeros does have corn, so I'm assuming maybe they did use it. Yeah, so
good old sweet corn. Yeah, worrying about it. Carmine went to Epstein Island to find Daguerreon.
He's there. He's in the collection.
You think the Epstein dagger is there?
Jesus Christ.
The Epstein dagger.
The Epstein dagger. There's one man who would have a Valyrian dagger. Oh man.
Did you see the thing about him having pieces of the Kaaba? Like the cloth that covers the Kaaba?
You tweet, by the way, I love you so much. Your fucking Twitter is a goldmine for shit. I never saw that until you tweeted about it. And you are so right, Trey. How is this guy not dead? How is like no one has?
How did somebody just not stab this guy? Like, that's
so I'll tell you that, like, so you know, my brother-in-law is a archaeologist in the Middle East, and he was talking about the antiquity, like the illicit antiquity market, is like very much related to rich Israelis. And so like when Iraq happened, like there was a lot of artifacts that disappeared in Iraq, and you kind of know that where they are. They're in, like, you know, a rich Israeli house. But, you know, obviously Epstein is very connected in that scene as well. So he probably has some artifacts, you know, the Ark of the Covenant,
the Holy Grail,
the Raw Stone, or whatever.
The Saudi government sold it to him. What's the story with
Yes.
that?
Let me see how like backed up with evidence this is. Where, like, I think there's the claim that pieces of the blanket, the carpet that covers the Kaaba, like, ended up in his house as like a rug.
Okay. Here's the thing about that, though. They replace that thing like every 3 months. It's like, so for them to be like, yeah, we'll give you the fucking like blanket that covers the Kaaba. Sure, you want to pay us $100 million for that? Fine. We were gonna throw it out. Like,
what a random
it's a piece
thing.
of fabric, like exposed to the elements. Like, the thing is, keep in mind, it has to be jet black, okay, and it is receiving blistering sunlight all fucking day long, okay? That thing gets faded real fast. So they're replacing that shit constantly. So for someone to be like, I want like some of the fabric of the Kaaba, they'd be like, Go for it, dude. What a worthless thing. Like,
yeah, 3 pieces were sent from Saudi Arabia to Epstein's home in the Epstein Island, 2017. This was after he was a convicted sex offender. It is like the government was like, sure, you take it. Yeah, they're saying
thing.
United Arab Emirates contacts businesswoman sent it to him in a Saudi where like it was a like why like
that's
why?
so
Like this
funny.
is just like how
So
fucking
funny.
weird.
Because you also got to be like on the bottom, it's just sweaty hands, like sweaty hands of people like touching it, like that fabric all day long, like the sweatiest hands. Like because when you're walking around it, you're just dripping with sweat. Like you are just flowing. You wear an ihram, and like it is literally just a towel. I mean, it's a towel like robe thing because you're so sweaty, and people are like going up to the Kaaba and like touching it, and like why would you want that? Like it's meaningless. Like it's literally fucking meaningless. It's a piece of fabric.
It's
so
yeah,
funny.
it's like it's so weird. Like, why does he want it? And then like, why would they give it to him? You know, like you think they just like they destroy it or something like
Preston,
that.
do you think he knew that? Do you think he knew that it was like worthless or whatever? Like, you think he knew that?
Probably
Or do you
not.
Probably not.
Or do you?
He's
Yeah.
probably some stupid white guy that is not like I kind of get the vibe that Epstein was like he apes like he like aped like being like this intellectual and stuff, like he's like
Yeah.
talking to Chickenosaurus and everything, but like he doesn't actually know that much, you know, like he wanted to be like Richard, like in that Richard Dawkins atheist crowd, like the cool intellectuals, and he actually is.
But he was
you know?
also
It's
like a weird Jewish supremacist, right? Like he wanted like, you know, he built this like he built a temple on his island, all this shit. Like he was a big Zionist. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Man, what a weirdo.
I know. What a crazy
Crazy
time.
man. Crazy man. I mean, this is I don't know. Like what wealth what wealth and like no one like never questioning yourself does to people. Like when you just think everything you do is 100% correct and you have nothing but like unchecked power. How it just rots your mind. Is it a Feast for Crows or Dance with Dragons? Well, where Tyrek was referred to as
Jesus
a horse.
Christ.
I think it's a Feast for Crows. Isn't it Jamie says he's last seen a horse?
Yeah. This joke needs to die. It's not funny. It's like 6'7" or something like that. Like, shut
up. Yeah, it's Jamie 3, A Feast for Crows. The boy was last seen a horse when the press of the mob broke the line of gold cloaks. Yeah. But yeah, it's a Feast for Crows where he's last seen a horse. It'll eventually, you know, these jokes will come around. The joke will stop being funny, and then, well, I mean, it stopped being funny, but it'll be funny again, like in 7 years if people like forget about it. But the thing is, if people never forget about it, it'll just be, it'll just be that way. I don't know. It's kind of like in The Office, like when Michael starts doing the "that's what she said" joke, and like because it's been like it stopped being funny, and like a whole bunch of time went by, and then he like resurrected it. Maybe it'll tap that, you know. Is your headcanon is Dany rocking back and forth, clutching knees, mumbling to herself in the House of the Undying? Oh, this is the idea that the House of the Undying is actually just like one fucking room or like two fucking rooms. Like this whole idea of her like walking down all of these hallways, like it never happened. She like drank a psychotropic drug and she's just hallucinating the whole time. There's like nothing fucking magical. There's no like rooms of her like walking to the left and doing everything. She's just in one like there's nothing in there. So yeah, no, I totally think that like she is just hallucinating until she gets to the fucking the Undying, which legitimately seems to be some sort of weird heart and a bunch of like old people sitting around a table. But yeah, I don't think there was actually a woman and 4 tiny rat-faced little people. Like, you know, like, I don't think there was actually a wolf-headed dude, like, you know, looking at her in muted appeal. You know, she just was hallucinating. She was, you know,
This
so
is
yeah.
this is making me reinterpret the Stone City now, where it's kind of has that House of the Undying. Was the end of Stone City just a guy tripping out? Like he wasn't actually going through space time. He was. That's why the shed boss shows up. The drug dealer guy shows up in there.
That's true. But then the question is, he like, isn't the last line like he never?
Oh, you're right.
He's continuing to travel or something.
Yeah, the last line speaks.
Like the end of the universe happens
narration.
and he's still like traveling.
Yeah. All right.
Maybe. Or maybe that's just his trip, man. It's like, dude, I'm at the end of the universe, man.
It's like reading. Reading will take you to other worlds. I love those like little cliche George, like school teacher, librarian, like little messages. The reader lives 1,000 times.
I know. It's very much like if you'd like to learn more about reading, check out your local library. Like, oh jeez. Like a magic school bus. Like kind of stuff. Get lost in a book. So many adventures.
It's like you ever watch The Page Master with Macaulay Culkin?
No.
It was this like it's young Macaulay Culkin, and he's like, I'm the page master, and he's like exploring the library, and they're going to like, this is the horror section, and it's like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. I don't know. It has like all this like, it's very 90s. It's very like a 90s kids movie. Page Master.
The Page Master.
Oh my gosh. He looks so dorky. He looks
like fucking Harry Potter.
What year was this? Let me see what year this is.
This is 94.
94? Is this, when was Harry Potter? Is this around the same time? Is this like our Harry Potter? Harry Potter is 2001, so this predates Harry Potter.
Yeah. Oh. You know the name Harry Potter was used in Troll, right? But the main character of Troll is Harry Potter.
Like the like movie everybody makes fun of?
No, they make fun of Troll 2. But
okay.
There was a movie called Troll. I mean, it's one of those movies that, like, as a child, like, I saw and frightened the fuck out of me. But yeah. But it was like this movie. Have you ever seen Troll?
Oh yeah, I've seen Troll 2. I haven't seen Troll.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of a freaky movie. Very kind of freaky movie. I think Julia Louis-Dreyfus is in it. Like,
really? It's like a young role for her.
Mm-hmm.
Troll. Oh my gosh, she's so young in this. Oh my god.
Yeah.
How young? How old is she? Age. She was 25. Oh my gosh. She's my age. This is my age. I could be acting a troll right now.
I know, man. Good old Julia Louis-Dreyfus. There she is.
She will always be Elaine.
I know, she will always be Elaine, unfortunately.
She was a cast member on Saturday Night Live. She was a lot of things that people forget.
She was Veep.
Well, she's Veep. At least she's not what's his name? George or Kramer, where like that's all they're known for, right? Like Kramer.
Which is a shame because both of them are, you know, very, very talented.
Yeah.
I mean, what's funny is
like George,
the least talented person in that lot was Jerry Seinfeld. That's what's kind of funny.
Yes. Yes. Jerry Seinfeld's the least funny person on Seinfeld.
who was also in the Epstein files, believe it or not, Jerry Seinfeld.
Well, he seems like he's always been a guy who, I mean, didn't he date like an under 18 woman?
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's true. I remember that. Jesus Christ.
And that's the same thing with that paleontologist I was talking about, Jack Horner. Is he's notorious. He was dating one of his students or something when he was like 90, and she like just turned 18. It's some creepy stuff. Yeah, look up picture Jack Horner paleontologist wife, and it is like the creepiest thing. You're like, ew.
Oh God.
Jack Horner wife, where it's like him standing next to his wife, and it's like a child. Oh God, it's even worse.
Oh no.
God damn.
Oh no.
This fucking guy.
Oh God. That's horrible.
This was a huge guy in the paleontological community too. This was like a household name among paleontologists. He's like one of the most famous paleontologists.
Oh my God. That's his fucking wife.
That's his wife. I know, and I think they're still together. In case
people like, there's another fucking. Oh God.
Yeah, this guy's Alan Grant. This is the direct inspiration of Alan Grant.
Oh Jesus
it's like the
Christ!
Fucking crypt keeper.
yeah, it is.
Oh boy.
Homie looks like Palpatine. Like how? Ugh. Was he like super duper rich?
Las Vegas. He married 65-year-old Horner. Married Vanessa Weaver at 19-year-old Montana State University. She was a student in his lab. So she's like, there's also like, not only is there the really like gross age gap, there's like that she was his student. So, oh boy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Essentially, like, you know, this has to do with like the like in anthropology, people talk about like the totem and like power within the totem. Like if you put yourself into a cultural group, people at the top of that cultural group, everyone wants to emulate them or sleep with them and things like that. So if you're studying anything, say you're studying geology, like the top PhD, the top professor in geology is a rock star in that field. So you're all of a sudden like, it's the rock star groupie situation, you know? And so like people want to rise up, you know, and so she's a student. There's that power thing. She's just like, oh, there's, you know, ugh, gross.
Sorry.
Was he a rich guy? I don't see the appeal. Maybe it's just me.
He wrote some book. Like that's the thing is like in paleontology, I don't know how you make money besides like just being a professor, a tenured professor. Like I know that he was a professor. He wrote a couple books. So maybe that's it. I think Preston's right where it's just the clout that he has, because he had a lot of clout back in the day. He had huge clout where like he had all these theories that people took seriously on like T-Rex and stuff. He got in like this big public debate rivalry with Robert Bakker, who is like the much cooler version of him, like the less problematic, much cooler version of him, that is now like vindicated by history. It's kind of funny. Like Jurassic Park 2, they have a paleontologist character brought by like the evil corporation, and he is very clearly a parody character of Bakker, and the movie like intentionally kills him in a very gruesome way. And he's like intentionally like wrong about like the dinosaurs. Like he says like, oh yes, the head of that is not used for punching or something like that, and the dinosaur will punch or something. Like it was very clearly like that they were like praising Jack Horner and then like demonizing Bakker, or like I don't know how tongue-in-cheek it was or how good-natured it was, but yeah. And now in retrospect, he's the cool one. Like he's the one that is just a normal person that was not like a creep. Yeah.
What are the chances the season where Egg gets elected has Bloodraven talk about the power of a good story and says something like, and who has a better story than Aegon the Unlikely?
God. No, we need it to be brutal. Like, you solved the puzzle. Like, the most interesting thing I've seen from the Song of Ice and Fire community in like 10 years or whatever was you solving the gauntlet thing. That it's like,
Oh, right.
that he was handing over the gauntlet, and then like Bloodraven just like brutally like imprisons him and murders him. Like, that is great. I love that. That that meeting, it turns into this brutal, bloody affair. Like, yeah, that's great.
Never be put to screen. Never be put to screen. Unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that'll happen either. I don't think that doesn't seem Ira Parker's. Like I say, like Ira Parker, he doesn't seem to like anything that's cheesy. Like, he wants to subvert all cheesiness, and like right now he does it through like people bumping heads and people taking shits. But it's very clear he doesn't like that kind of thing. Like, I don't think Ira Parker would approve of Tyrion's whole and who has a better story than Bran the Broken. Ira Parker, like everyone would be like, me. Like, that's what immediately would happen. Like, that would be like Ira Parker, and then it would be for a laugh. Me. Like, and then it would be broken, right? He feels the need to interrupt every like earnest scene with something like that. So, for good or ill, like. Damn Ira, we earnestly discussing poop. Yes. Jon Snow is in the frickin' files many times. Really? How many times do you think Jon Snow is in the files? People talk about it metaphorically.
I could see Tyrion being in the files. Like, I'm trying to think who's like. People are joking about it, that it's like Rhaegar and Tyrion and who like okay, there's the thing in the story that George specifically makes Shay 18 or whatever, and yeah. It's always stuck out to me that George was like very clearly like, I don't want to get canceled for Tyrion. Like, I don't want Tyrion to get canceled.
Well, what's funny, because he already did it with Dany, right? But he doesn't want to. Like, he has Tyrion do a lot of bad shit, but he won't have him have sex with somebody under the age of 18. And like, Jon Snow's sex is like, perfectly consensual with a girl who's actually a year older than him. Things like that. So it's yeah. Jon Snow is in the files. Send a story to Ira so he can keep getting. Send a story to Ira so he can adapt. Oh, for the for that trial by for the council. The thing is, that council is so far in the future. I just don't see us ever getting to that point in the story. Like,
him saying that he's going to have 12 seasons is like an insane person. Like, what are you smoking, man? Like, what world are you in where you think that we're going to have 12 seasons?
He just put out I think an interview with GQ where he said like he's hopeful for a season 3, but it hasn't been greenlit yet. So I was talking this to Preston the other week. I don't know if we're going to get a season 3, maybe, because the Netflix deal. So who knows if everything's going to be put on ice.
Not even a season 3. Like, at least with season 3, we have the material, right? You got the Mystery Night, which sounds like the easier one to adapt than Sworn Sword. Like, I'm like, oh god, Sworn Sword is like, that's going to be
more expensive though. You do have to do more jousting.
That's true.
Here's the thing about Sworn Sword. I can't see that being more than like 4 or 5 episodes, but Preston also made a good point the other day about episode 3 of Night of the Seven Kingdoms season 1. A lot of it is just original material, and it was good. So
Okay.
the filler stuff could be good.
Mystery Night, you got like gay characters. You're gonna get those Gen Zs in there. You know,
Yeah,
like
I
you get
mean, we're laughing at Ira Parker like about all the shit stuff, but we're forgetting that like Ira Parker also has a whole bunch of 100% original scenes that are fucking great. You know.
that are good. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So like in the end, it's a good show. Like my criticism
Mhm.
is it doesn't thematically adapt the story, but it's a good fucking show. And so Ira Parker in the end did a really good job. Um, even with the shit, like even with the shit. um, Epstein was a midwit, and this is the thing: is I think there's a lot of people, especially very rich and powerful people, that think they're smarter than they are, and like Elon Musk. Like Elon Musk is a fucking
What, the
idiot, but he
president?
thinks he's a
The
fucking
fucking president?
genius. Yeah, thinks he's a fucking genius when he's a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And it's odd because when I meet really smart people, um, you know, it depends how old they are. Really smart kids can be arrogant, but like really smart adults, I find that a lot of them like, they know what they know and they know what they don't know. Sometimes they get out of their lane and act like idiots. But I don't know. It's weird. It's weird when these like dumb people think they're smart and think that like everything out of their mouth is God's gift to the world. You know, like I talk a lot, but I don't actually think like anything I say has any value. So
Also, I don't think you know that. Maybe you do know this, Preston. That Elon Musk, he's in the Epstein files, obviously,
well,
but he's in them
obviously
because he's begging to go on
he
the
was
island.
begging to go to the island, right? And they were like,
Girls
"You
for the
suck."
win.
There's the thing where he tags Ghislaine Maxwell and he's like, deal with this. Like he doesn't even want to fucking talk to Elon, which I think is really funny.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like like the thing that saved him from like is the fact that like they didn't want to hang out with him, which is like he was so lame that even their island
Bro, they hung out with fucking Stephen Hawking's in his wheelchair, but
I
Elon
know.
Musk was the fucking nerd that they didn't want to. Wow. No wonder he's pissed.
Hey, Preston, from what we're told about Summerhall and the quotes about Egg in later life, we were meant to believe that he went mad. Do you believe this? Yeah, no, I do. I think all the Targaryens go mad. All of them. I mean, if they live long enough, they all go mad because of prophecy. And I think at this point, like, it'd be very difficult when every other fucking Targaryen is riddled with dreams and obsessed with prophecy and acting fucking crazy. You know, that Egg would not be that. Like we essentially have three genres of Targaryens, right? We've got just fucking crazy and mean. Then we have obsessed with prophecy, and then we have like riddled with like prophetic dreams, right? Well, I suppose there's also trying to put their dick in everything and have babies all over the place. And so it's like you either have one or multiple of those things, right? So Rhaegar, obsessed with prophecy and trying to put his dick in everything. Aerys, really fucking mean. Viserys, really fucking mean. Dany, plagued by dreams. Daeron, plagued by dreams. Aemon, obsessed with prophecy. It's just one after the other. I mean, like I say, the only ones that we meet that aren't that are Maekar and Baelor. Like everybody else. So like, and Egg brings up prophecy and talks about it as fact in the Sworn Sword. He's like, the dragons are going to come back. My uncle Aerys like read about it. Like it's I would say that like it's 100% that Egg is gonna be obsessed with prophecy. Whether he's crazy or if he's just tricked. Those might be two different things. But yeah, it's going nowhere. It's going nowhere good. It's Egg's fault. Egg meets young Betha on the way to Winterfell. Betha Blackwood. I mean, Betha Blackwood is just the World of Ice and Fire like kind of character, right? She's just like in the family tree.
Yeah. I don't think she has any character or anything like that.
Yeah. Supposedly he married for love or something, so maybe you'd meet her later. But trying to think about it. Does he need to meet her yet? Because he's 8 or so in the first book, and then he's like what, 10 and 11 or something in the following stories.
He's got a lot of time.
He's got a lot of time,
and then like he's pretty young to be interested in girls. But then again, George plays with.
I mean, maybe it's kind of like Anakin meeting Padme in The Phantom Menace. Like, why is this here? Like, it does not need to be here. Like, being a child and obsessing over someone, and it's just not something that happens. Like, you don't. No one like meets somebody when they're 10 and then like thinks about them for 10 years and then meets them later and then like wants to be romantically involved with them. Like, that's just not how it works, but whatever. Maybe we'll pull the same thing. All right. Making it to the end. Thank goodness. Yay. The Norwegian princess in the Epstein Files was hot, though. I'm sure a lot of these fucking girls were hot. I'm sure. But, like, that's the sad thing. They were targeted because they were attractive and abused because they were attractive. It's sad. All these people. So sad, so sad. All right, guys. Thank you for being with me, Trey. Thank you for being with me, Carmine. But this is
already
this is good. Yeah, got it, man. And off to America tomorrow. Gotta deal with traveling. And then when did George say Blackwood was Boba Fett? Did he ever say Blackwood was Boba Fett?
What does that mean? Blackwood was Boba Fett? What does that mean?
I think he's trying to make a reference to the fact that we're like comparing it to Star Wars, in the fact that like young Egg is like meeting, how like we meet young Boba Fett and stuff like that. Thing is, Bloodraven's already an adult though, so it's like if this were an earlier story, we could meet young Bloodraven.
Wait, I thought Fat Balwaz was Boba Fett, right, Trey?
Boba Fett, where?
I thought Fat Belwas.
Where's this Fat Belwas coming from? Why is it not Strong Belwas?
I messed up. I was like, I was talking to somebody and like, because on Twitter right now, people are debating, can Jaime Lannister defeat Aragorn or something?
No, I was like, he cannot defeat Aragorn. Aragorn has 80 years of practice.
I was like, Fat Belwas could defeat Jaime, and people are like, "Who's Fat Belwas?" And I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Oh, forgot."
Fat Belwas. After he gets the plate, smashed on his head, he stops calling himself Strong Belwas, starts calling him Fat Belwas.
I love that he starts speaking in broken English after that plate.
After the plate, he becomes dumb.
Like, Hello, Danny.
Hulk smash, Belwas smash. It's like so much smarter in A Clash of Kings.
How do you
Preston, have you ever visited Bolivia? I have not. Bolivia is one of the few. I've never been in South America. I've never been to Bolivia, Venezuela, Suriname, or Guyana. But I've been to the rest of South America. But I've never been to Bolivia.
You don't need to go there.
Yeah. So. All right, thank you guys, and I will see you guys soon. All right, have a good one.